Thanks everybody for joining today. This is our quarterly call with the wastewater operators to talk about any number of issues that we've been dealing with over the past couple of years. A reminder that the call is being recorded. The recording will be posted on MassDEP's website, as is our practice, so that it's a resource that is available. Joined by a fair number of colleagues at MassDEP, our Deputy Commissioner Stephanie Cooper, Kathy Baskin, our Assistant Commissioner for Water, who's also the Zoom guru that makes this meeting happen, Mary Beth Chubb, key staff from DEP's regional offices, and of course we'll have and headquarters office, I should say, and we'll have John Murphy, and we'll call on John in a moment to talk about the operator training and licensing. We also, I believe, yes, we are fortunate that at these calls we have representatives from EPA. I know Denny Dart is with us today, and so I'd like to open it up to Denny in case there's any updates she'd like to provide from EPA.
Hi, thank you, Commissioner. Just a single update. I wanted to let you know that the EPA has been putting together a new website related to integrated planning. Some of you may be aware that in January 2019, Congress, while we were all on furlough, Congress passed the Water Infrastructure and Improvement Act. And what that did is amend the Clean Water Act and included integrated municipal planning, where it allows the municipality to consider stormwater, wastewater, and other costs, and to prioritize based on public health. So EPA has recently developed a good number of resources, including online webinars and tools for financing infrastructure, that kind of thing. So I will put the site for that in the chat. That's all I have today. Thank you.
Thanks, Denny. Appreciate that. One thing that came up in the drinking water conversation we had yesterday was, just an ongoing reminder of supply chain issues. Are we having a hard time getting treatment, chemicals, materials for projects? And as always, I think throughout the history of these calls, we've encouraged you to let us know, you and the community let us know about that, both DEP and EPA. There was, people are also paying attention to the potential rail strike, what impacts that might have on chemicals and supplies. I don't know that we have any new updates. Yesterday, I think, our Denny's colleague from the drinking water program indicated that, there are discussions ongoing. The federal government is monitoring it closely. So, we'll all just stay in touch on those issues. And like I said, continue to make sure that, we're sharing information so that the right people in the right parts of government are aware of it if that should become a bigger issue.
Commissioner, I put in the information from Denny about the integrated planning guidance, as well as the pandemic guidance and the chemical supply chain info, and an important letter that EPA wrote to the chemical industry on the prioritization of the industry for supplies. So I popped that all into the chat, and I'll put some information about a training session that Denny had forwarded earlier. So we'll keep that chat busy today.
Great, and maybe we could also put it on our website. I see David has an update from MWRA, saying, well, David, if you want to share with the group, that would be fine.
Yeah, so this is Dave Duasa, director of the Deer Island Treatment Plant. So we've received several recent competitive bid pricing on two critical chemicals. One's the disinfectant sodium hypochlorite. It was 166% increase in the unit price. And then a process chemical used in our digesters, ferric chloride, is 80% increase in unit price. So we're seeing some massive increases. We are seeing pressures on the supply chain with missed deliveries, et cetera. But we've been able to work through them and keep the inventory up. But it has been a concern. We have to stay on them constantly. We also put out notices because of the recent update on future labor issues with the supply of sodium hypochlorite that we've been keeping in touch with our vendors accordingly to make sure they know we're a priority. Obviously, major human health issue if our 360 million gallons of wastewater doesn't get disinfected every day.
Mhm. Thanks for that, David. Any sense, those really high cost increase numbers, did they attribute it to, any particular cause, or was it just that this is what the new price is?
The common reasons, it started with a labor shortage on CDL licenses and drivers. And then all of that dominoed into supply chain issues with raw chemicals. Difficult for the vendors to actually get the raw chemicals to make the product. And then now obviously issues with rail cars and delivery mechanisms as well. So there's just a lot of pressures on every part of the supply chain process. Has been cited as the main reasons. So, unfortunately, we have to get the chemical.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you for that additional information. So it's something that we all need to keep an eye on as people are contending with this really unsettled market. So with that, I think we'll turn next to John Murphy, who will talk about operator training and licensing. John, if there's anything you'd like to share with the group, you'd be most welcome at this time.
Yes, thanks, Commissioner. Things are going well on the training front. I'm at the first class of the Massachusetts Wastewater Operator Management School. The last one wrapped up in February 2020. And this is our first in-person class for the management program. So that's exciting. This is a program we use to train mid-level and senior operators to become managers. And we meet once a month in person over the year, going over public speaking, management, finance, just kind of the spectrum of management classes. So it's exciting to see. We have 22 people in the room right across the way at Upper Blackstone. So it's exciting to see everyone in person again. Just some other stuff that's going on that is good. We have some virtual, some in person, some free, some cost. A free EPA emergency response plan. That's September 20th and 21st. That's virtual. It has 200 attendees already signed up. So it's a good free opportunity to develop an emergency response plan or improve your emergency response plan for your facility. NUEPIC has started their MWAT training, and that's the exam prep type courses. Those are virtual for the fall. However, by the end of the fall, we are going to do some in-person refresher courses with the goal of being hybrid for the MWAT in spring 2023. The NUEPIC is also doing a Pump-A-Palooza hands-on October 20th. Good opportunity to see some cutouts of pumps and get some hands-on pump experience for any operators looking into that. The MAWIA quarterly meeting, September 28th, virtual. NUEA has a program for the Energy and Operations Workshop tomorrow at South Essex, WEFTEC in New Orleans, and NUEA also has their voluntary laboratory certification program training up and running again with the exam through NUEA. So it's exciting to see all the different training options ramping up. The certification side is going good. Exams are still being taken and passed. Licenses are being issued. So things are good from the certification side. Thank you.
Commissioner, could I ask John to post whatever he can into the chat on all those trainings? There are lots of opportunities there.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
to the extent that you can do that, we'll also put it online.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, John. And glad that the in-person trainings are going on again. So that's great. So, all right. Thank you for that. You know, one of the things that we've been talking about collectively in these sessions, and certainly, you know, we're all thinking about, is the, you know, in new sources of funding for projects that have come either from the ARPA legislation or the bipartisan infrastructure law. You know, it's creating some new opportunities here, and you know, because some of this is new funding, you know, administered in new ways. We've been, you know, working to make sure that we can expend the funds appropriately and be in good communication. I was wondering if I might turn the program over to our SRF director, Maria Pinot, to give us some updates about that funding and what's going on, you know, in our work with our colleagues at the Clean Water Trust.
Thank you, Commissioner. It's a pleasure to be here talking to you again. And I do have some good news to report. I'm very pleased to let you know that Massachusetts was awarded the federal infrastructure funding for calendar year 2022. We are using those funds to implement the 2022 IUP projects. So that is excellent news. I believe that we are the first state in the nation to receive those funds. And the funds for this year are approximately $200 million. And that includes the state matching funds. And those funds greatly increase the program capacity, but more importantly, they also provide for additional subsidies to disadvantaged communities, and these are beyond the what's already standard in the program. So it is a great opportunity to participate in the program at this time. I'm also happy to report that many of the projects in the 2022 IUP are proceeding. And this is despite of the many challenges that we already heard about the supply chain disruptions that have resulted in higher project costs and also extended timelines. But we continue to work with our borrowers to make sure that their projects reach completion. For the 2023 IUP, the project solicitation closed on August 12th, and we received a very strong response. There are approximately 99 proposals for new construction projects for clean water and 27 asset management planning proposals for clean water SRF. And the total cost of these projects for clean water is $1.6 billion. So demand remains very strong. We are reviewing the proposals and ranking them to develop the draft IUPs that we expect to publish by before the end of the year. And that initiates the 30-day public comment period before we finalize the IUP early next year. We do intend to apply for the supplemental funds again next year, and we expect to offer amounts in the 2023 IUP that are going to be similar to what we saw this year. So expect to see an increased number of projects being offered financing, and also the subsidies that come along for disadvantaged communities. Also in the horizon, we do have a new development. The BIL law allows for a 2% set aside to be used from the base grant and the supplemental BIL grant for states to provide technical assistance to small and rural and tribal publicly owned treatment works, so they can more easily participate in the SRF program. So we are currently working with the trust to make sure that we have a program in place to assist those small systems and rural communities to take advantage of this funding. So keep your eyes open, and please do reach out to me if you have any questions about SRF. I'm always open to assist and answer any questions you might have. So that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Maria. And thanks not only for the report and all the work you're doing to implement these programs, but also thanks for sticking around in case we have questions later from the participants.
Thank you.
So with that, I think we're going to move into the questions and answers. We did get one preview question, which was the very timely topic about what guidance does DEP have for operations regarding sludge disposal. For the question said this summer with excessive heat and limited disposal of sludge, it proved to be problematic. And I'm very mindful of the fact, even before COVID, and frankly, even before PFAS, which has complicated the sludge picture, the sludge disposal picture, we were hearing that the options were limited. I think the best we can do is to, I'd encourage operators to stay in touch with regional staff. We've tried our best to compile a list of businesses that accept sludge, and we're going to post that in the chat. I'm not sure. I was looking. I'm not sure Mickey Nowak is with us this morning. So I know he's been doing some work on this. He was, back when we were together in May, he shared some of the experiences of his members. So this is something that we don't have, great answers for right now. We will continue to, share information on what disposal options are available. We will continue to, engage, and I'll say this is, an issue not only for us, but all of our neighbors in New England, and I suspect it's becoming a growing issue across the country. So we will we'll continue to stay in touch as potential options develop and potential solutions are discussed, as well as making sure that we're dealing with immediate issues that are arising from the limited disposal options. I don't know if Kathy or anybody has anything she'd like to offer beyond that.
I think you've covered it, Commissioner. I did post the information that we keep on our website about companies that accept sludge into this chat. So it's available. We haven't updated it in the last year or so we don't know for sure that everybody is still accepting it, but these are larger companies that likely would. But we did hear from Mickey Nowak in May that not only is it difficult to find the capacity, but the expenses associated with residuals management have increased substantially.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Okay. Are there other questions or comments that folks would like to raise, either through the chat, or if you'd like to unmute yourself and go ahead and ask? We'll pause here to give you time to do that. Okay, not hearing any. What we'll do is, again, we'll post the resources that we've identified in the chat on our website. We'll post this recording on our website. We'll continue to stay in touch with any updates in between time through our usual ways of communicating. I believe we're planning, our next meeting will be December 7th, 2022 from 9 to 10 a.m. At that point, we may have more information about the funding and some of the other topics we've talked about. But in the meantime, I appreciate not only your attendance here today. I appreciate everybody's work in these very unusual times, you know, coming out of COVID, dealing with all the issues that we've talked about today. And, you know, we're, on behalf of DEP, we're here to make sure that we are continuing to engage with you as you move forward on your important work. So thank you very much. And I hope everybody has a good day.